In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 NBA games happening on April 11, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Orlando Magic versus Indiana Pacers. The Orlando Magic, sitting at an even 40-40 record overall and 39-40-1 against the spread, are going up against the Indiana Pacers, who are 48-31 on the season with a 35-43-1 against the spread mark. The Pacers and Magic will face off Thursday evening in a conference clash. Orlando is coming off a home loss to the Celtics on Wednesday, while Indiana picked up a win against the Wizards on Tuesday and has another game against the Cavs on Thursday. Orlando currently leads the head-to-head series 2-1. The Magic still have a handful of key players listed as questionable, including Corey Joseph, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Paolo Banchero. On the other side, Indiana has ruled out Ben Shepherd and Isaiah Jackson once again. The Pacers have been tough at home with 29 victories there this season and are in the mix for the 3rd seed, though they've already locked up the 4th. Meanwhile, Orlando doesn't have a ton of motivation left, which explains the laundry list of names on their injury sheet. Indiana just scraped by the Wizards and had to fight hard against the Cavs' backups on Wednesday. They're finding ways to win, but with a 35-44-1 record against the spread, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Indiana is all but set in the 4th seed spot in the Eastern Conference, holding a 3-game lead over the Bucks with only 3 games left on the schedule. This game against the Magic will be the second night of a back-to-back for them. Orlando, meanwhile, has clinched a home game in the play-in round, and both teams could choose to rest key players with the postseason in mind. Indiana seems locked into its spot, and Orlando doesn't have much to gain or lose from here on out. The Hawks are too far behind to catch them. I'm leaning toward the Magic's bench stepping up and stealing one here. They've taken 8 of their last 10 and have a rhythm going. The Magic are on a roll, currently riding a 4-game winning streak. What's more, they've been solid away from home too, with 5 straight road wins under their belt. Just a day ago, they beat the Celtics at home. And when it comes to Indiana, they've had the Magic's number this year, winning 2 of the 3 head-to-head matchups. Orlando's defense has been a difference maker. Defensively, the Magic have the edge. They're allowing just 109 points for every 100 possessions, while Indiana is giving up 113.5. That difference adds up. Orlando hasn't just been winning, they've been blowing teams out. 4 of their last 5 victories have come by double-digit margins. The Pacers, meanwhile, are playing their 2nd game in 2 nights, which could lead to some guys sitting out. As our first pick for this matchup, the Orlando Magic to cover the spread as underdogs is our full-game side pick. Orlando has managed to put up at least 111 points in 2 of the 3 games they've played against Indiana this season. The Pacers play fast. They rank 8th in pace, which should open up more scoring chances for the Magic. On the road, Orlando has scored 108 or more in 5 straight games, which is higher than their season average. Indiana has been lighting it up too, scoring 119 or more in 3 of their last 4 games, and averaging 122 points over that stretch. When they faced the Magic at home earlier this year, they dropped 118. The over has hit in 5 of their last 8 games, with 2 pushes mixed in. I see this one turning into a shootout. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Milwaukee Bucks versus Detroit Pistons. The NBA brings us a pretty interesting matchup in the Eastern Conference this Friday when the Milwaukee Bucks head into Detroit to take on the Pistons. It's one of those games that might fly under the radar but has some sneaky good potential. Milwaukee's coming off a solid 110-103 win over Minnesota, even though they came in as 6-point underdogs. Meanwhile, Detroit dropped their last one, falling 127-117 to Sacramento despite being favored by 5. 38.5 points. Milwaukee has flat out owned this matchup lately. They've won their last 10 straight against Detroit and already lead this season's 4-game series 2-0. Milwaukee is 10-0 in its last 10 games against Detroit. The Bucks are still not at full strength, with both Damian Lillard and Tyler Smith ruled out again. Detroit is closer to being whole, though they're missing Jaden Ivey for this one. Milwaukee had its struggles earlier in the year, but lately they've been locking in and finding their rhythm. They're probably feeling pretty confident going up against a team they've already beaten twice. Even though the Pistons are favored at home after knocking off the Knicks last night, it's the Bucks who have been playing the better basketball recently. Milwaukee has taken 5 out of their last 6 games, while Detroit has been slipping, losing 4 of their last 5. The Bucks have the upper hand here, especially when you look at how they've been shooting, hitting more than 48% of their shots in the past 3 games. Compare that to the Pistons, who have only been knocking down 43%. The Bucks are also moving the ball well, rebounding hard, especially on the offensive glass, where they're pulling in over 8 boards a game. That leads to extra chances, and they're not wasting them. On top of that, they've been careful with the ball, turning it over fewer than 10 times per game in their last 3. That's a recipe for staying in control. Meanwhile, Detroit's defense hasn't been doing them any favors. They're giving up more than 113 points per game at home, which makes it hard to see them clamping down on a surging Bucks team. It's kind of wild this line favors Detroit, considering Milwaukee has beaten them 11 straight times. The Pistons haven't managed a win over the Bucks since back in January 2022. Right now, the Bucks are playing some of their best basketball all season. They've won 6 in a row and have covered in 7 of their last 10. Detroit, on the other hand, has dropped 4 of 6 and their defense isn't holding up like it was earlier in the year. Maybe the idea is that Milwaukee could rest a few guys on the second night of a back-to-back, and that's baked into the line. As our first pick for this matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Detroit has hit the under in 3 of their last 4 games. They're averaging 115 points per game, and they play fast, 5th fastest in the league, clocking in at 103.9 possessions per game. They'll be going up against a Bucks team that's allowed just 108 points per game across their last 3. Milwaukee puts up 115 points a night, and they're a bit more middle of the road in pace, ranked 17th with 102.3 possessions per game. The Pistons are giving up 113.5 points per game at home, which gives Milwaukee a decent opportunity to keep their scoring numbers up. Over their recent 6-game win streak, the Bucks have actually tightened up on defense, giving up only 112 points a game. Quietly, their defense has been solid all year. They're 12th in defensive efficiency and allow just 111 points per 100 possessions. That said, Detroit isn't bad defensively either. They rank 9th in defensive efficiency, giving up 111 points per 100 possessions. And they're coming off a strong defensive showing where they held the Knicks to just 106. That effort could carry over, especially with the Bucks missing Lillard. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Atlanta Hawks versus Philadelphia 76ers. The Atlanta Hawks are set to hit the court for the second night in a row on Friday as they face off against the Philadelphia 76ers. They had just wrapped up a road matchup against the Brooklyn Nets on Thursday. Even though Atlanta has already secured a spot in the postseason, there's still a fight going on with 3 other teams to lock in better seeding for the upcoming play-in round. Earlier this week on Tuesday, the Hawks fell short in a 119-112 loss to the Orlando Magic. On the flip side, Philadelphia is already out of the playoff picture, but they did manage to snap a 12-game skid with a solid 122-103 win over the Washington Wizards on Wednesday. Atlanta will again be without key players Clint Capela, Jalen Johnson, and Larry Nance Jr. Meanwhile, Philadelphia has some uncertainty as Quentin Grimes, Justin Edwards, and Alex Reese are all listed as questionable for the game. Sure, the 76ers showed some life with their recent win over a struggling Wizards squad, but that doesn't erase the cold streak they were on before. With the play-in tournament approaching fast, Atlanta still has plenty to play for, and Philly just doesn't have that same fire right now. The Hawks are a streaky team. Some nights they look great, other nights they don't show up. That inconsistency makes it tough to back them as big favorites, especially on the second night of a back-to-back. Still, the odds here say more about the state of the 76ers than the Hawks. Philly has pretty much their entire roster listed on the injury report, and they've gone just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 outings. Their cover percentage sits at a league-worst 35%. fading the 76ers blindly has been a money maker. Atlanta needs this win to hold on to the 8th seed, so the motivation is there. They're coming off a strong showing against Brooklyn, and I think that momentum carries over. I'm rolling with the Hawks despite the big number. They're the team that still has something on the line. As our first pick for this matchup, the Atlanta Hawks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Offensively, the Hawks are one of the more explosive teams in the league, and they're going up against a Philly defense that's been one of the weakest all season. Atlanta has been a great team to back on the over, hosting a 48-30-1 record in that category, second best in the league. Philadelphia isn't far behind at 46-31-3, which puts them fourth. Atlanta also plays at one of the fastest paces in the NBA, averaging 105.3 possessions per game, while Philadelphia plays a bit slower at 99.8. If you look at recent trends, the over has hit in 9 of Atlanta's last 12 games, and they're also one of the top 5 scoring teams in the league. When the Hawks go on the road, the total has gone over in 8 of their last 10 games. On Philly's side, 14 of their last 19 games have also hit the over. With both squads struggling on the defensive end, there should be more than enough points to push this one past the projected number. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Cleveland Cavaliers versus New York Knicks. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who sit at 63-17 on the season, will welcome the New York Knicks on Thursday for a showdown between two Eastern Conference contenders. So far, Cleveland has had New York's number, winning all 3 previous meetings this season, both straight up and against the spread. Most recently, these teams met on April 2nd, when the Cavaliers handled the Knicks with ease, cruising to a 124-105 win. It's very possible Cleveland chooses to rest several key players again. Evan Mobley, Max Strus, Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland could all sit this one out. On the other side, New York is monitoring the statuses of Josh Hart and Og Anunoby. Cleveland has dominated the Knicks this season, sitting at 3-0 both straight up and against the spread, but both teams are on the move. The Cavaliers will be traveling in from Indianapolis, while the Knicks are heading back home after a road game in Detroit. With the Cavs locked into their spot in the standings, they'll probably take it easy and let their main guys rest up, which makes sense given the circumstances. Meanwhile, the Knicks are still fighting for playoff position and are likely to roll out their regulars in full force. That urgency, plus a home court edge where they're 27-13 straight up and 21-18-1 against the spread, could be the difference maker here. For what it's worth, New York has also gone 5-4 against the spread in their last 9 against Cleveland. It seems likely that Cleveland won't change course and will rest their top guys again, especially with the top seed in the East already secured. The Knicks just played last night, but they're still chasing that 3rd seed and need this win. That motivation gives them a solid edge, and it explains why oddsmakers are giving them the favorite tag. If the Cavs go with a short bench again, their reserves will be asked to carry a heavy load for a second straight night, and that's a tough ask. It's not the kind of rhythm those guys are used to, and it could show in their play. As our first pick for this matchup, the New York Knicks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. New York has leaned heavily on their defense lately, and that grinded-out approach is reflected in the numbers. They've scored fewer than 113 points in 5 of their last 7 games. Cleveland hasn't exactly lit it up either, staying under 115 points in 3 of their last 4 outings, and they're likely to be even thinner tonight with more players expected to sit. The Knicks have a reason to come out locked in, especially on the defensive side of the ball, since the stakes are still high for them. If Cleveland is rolling out a patchwork lineup, New York's defense should be able to make things uncomfortable. Combine that with potential rust and disjointed offense from both teams, and it sets the stage for a slow-paced game that leans under the total. Both squads have been falling short of their season scoring averages recently, and with so many offensive contributors potentially out or limited, this one has the makings of another low-scoring battle. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Charlotte Hornets versus Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, currently sitting at an impressive 59-21 record, are set to wrap up their regular season with back-to-back home games against the Charlotte Hornets, who limp into TD Garden at 19-61. The 2 matchups will go down on Friday and Sunday, closing out the 2024-2025 campaign for both squads. Charlotte will be fielding most of their roster, though star guard LaMelo Ball remains sidelined with injury. Boston, meanwhile, has already announced that Jaylen Brown won't suit up due to ongoing knee soreness. This feels like one of those matchups where you really need to check who's actually playing before the ball is tipped. The Celtics have already shown a willingness to rest their main guys, and with nothing on the line, They could easily do it again. The Hornets are so overmatched that even Boston's backups might be enough to take care of business. Let's be real, the Hornets have been bad all year, and they're still bad now. If Boston decided to take this seriously, it could get ugly fast. But there's no incentive for them to go all out here. Beating a team at the bottom of the league doesn't move the needle when your playoff seed is locked up. Also, Boston hasn't exactly been reliable against the spread. They're sitting at 37 to 42 to 1 against the spread this season, and just 6 to 12 against the spread in their last 18 games when favored by double digits. This would only be the 5th time since 2009 they're favored by 18 or more. Those kinds of lines are rare in the NBA for a reason. I'm not touching Boston in this spot. As our first pick for this matchup, the Charlotte Hornets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Boston's offense should do enough to push this game past the total. They rank second in offensive efficiency, putting up 118 points per 100 possessions. They'll be going up against a Charlotte defense that ranks near the bottom at 24th, giving up 114 points per 100 possessions. Boston's coming in rested, deep, and playing at home, so scoring somewhere in the 120 seconds seems very realistic. I'm not expecting a lot from Charlotte on the offensive end, but I also don't feel great about betting the under on a number this low. Even in a game where the Hornets barely show up, something like a 120 to 100 final would still sneak over. So while I'm not high on the Hornets' ability to put up points, I think there's enough firepower from Boston to clear the total. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.